What's up, all you fanatics of the campus gridiron? Glad you could make it for another edition of Gridiron Gab Triple Option, where we gab about all things on and off the campus gridiron, from the touchdowns on and off to the extra points of the recruiting wars to the big plays during the week. Let's start gabbing. Welcome back, all you campus fanatics out there. Thank you for joining us. Hope you and your family are doing great on this awesome Friday afternoon before one of my favorite days in college football, when we have a slate of games that just makes it all worthwhile. But I am back for the second game of Mr. CeeLo's trio. And it's the number 19 Colorado Buffaloes and the number 10 Oregon Ducks. Now, while everybody else is on Deion Mania, I was on it, but my whole stake on it is I'm not the flamboyant type. If this works for you, fine. What I'm not prepared for is the abundance of excuses that Deion Sanders is inevitably going to make. You can be good at what you do, but when you take your lumps, admit that you were wrong and tone it down. And that's ultimately what Deion's going to have to do here. Now, there's been very little talking from he and the Colorado Buffaloes this week. And justifiably so. They have a defense that is not very good. And looking here with a team that likes to run the football and go fast, this might get ugly for Colorado. I'm just saying, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to say, oh, well, maybe, just maybe Colorado has a shot. Yeah, they got a shot, probably for about a quarter. My thing is, you don't talk trash unless you're that good. This is why I can't stand Georgia Bulldog fans, because now all of a sudden they've won 2 national championships, but you've been talking trash for 40 years. Like you've been irrelevant. I mean, like you've been relevant for the previous 40 years. You haven't. And this year, you talking about a three-peat? You ain't got the team. I would argue you're not even going to lose a game and you're going to be out of that number 1 spot. I would venture to say, if the pollsters had any sense, if they had any sense, you guys would be number 3 before you even lost a game. Because I don't even see you as being one of the top 5 teams in the country. Yeah, I said it. But this ain't about Georgia. It's about Colorado and Oregon. And as I said, I'm not going to make this so much about Deion, because I'm about tired of his flamboyant attitude. I don't like it, and I think it's going to be an array of excuses when they do lose. And the thing is, your talk has to match what you're doing. You got teams like Florida State who aren't doing a lot of talking, you themselves, USC, just teams that should be talking, and they're not. The Michigans, you don't hear them talking. They're just playing. And this is the problem. You can have somebody that's being their self, and people are going to say, well, everybody shouldn't be the same. Well, guess what? You can't be the same when you lose. You can't be flamboyant and talking all that trash like nobody else talks, but then you want to take the same road that the other coaches who don't talk take when they get beat. You have to accept accountability. Now, with that being said, this is a simple pick for me. Vegas has already picked Oregon as 21-point favorites. Oregon's already a 21-point favorite. I honestly feel as though this game will be close probably for a quarter and a half. I would even venture to say it may get out of control in the first quarter. And the reason being is Oregon likes to run the football. Don't look at the yards passing fooling you. They're one of the top rushing offenses in the country. They've averaged 230 yards rushed. Now, granted, the level of competition is debatable, if you will. The level of competition is debatable. I get it. But here's the thing. The level of competition here is debatable. We've got two Heisman caliber quarterbacks in Shedeur Sanders as well as Bo Nix. I'm not as big a fan of Bo Nix, but I do think Shedeur Sanders is up there amongst the top 10 in the nation. Do I put him up there with Caleb Williams? Absolutely not. I'm not going to do that. There's a lot of people that are already wanting to put him and give him that title, and I am not. I am not about to give Shedeur Sanders that vote of confidence. I'm just not. He hasn't proven that, and I'm not about to relinquish that title to him. As for what we've got going on as far as many of the people that are talking about Shedeur being the Heisman candidate, I do believe that that is a possibility if this keeps progressing. But I don't see it getting any further than this week. I believe Shedeur's stock is going to fall off the remainder of the season because, as I was telling you guys on previous shows, Colorado's competition does not get any easier. They've got USC next week. Then they go to Arizona State. They go to Sun Devil Stadium in Arizona State. Then they have Stanford. Then they have a brutal... They basically go two tough ones. They go back-to-back, easy, back-to-back, easy. And that would be... they've got those two in Stanford and Arizona State. Then they have to travel to UCLA, and then they have Oregon State at home. Then they have Arizona, and then they close the season with Wazoo and Utah. Deion just better be glad he didn't have Washington on his schedule. That's what he better be grateful for. Because you're talking about, I'm going to say it like this, Deion's 3-0. He could very well finish the season 6-6. And a lot of people say, oh, that's a victory. Okay, it's a victory if you're giving him a pass. How many coaches have we seen come into the league and we are upset because they go 6-6 or they're not reaching the expectations that they said that they were talking about? And I know 1 year is a stretch, but the problem is Deion came in here blowing his guns. Like he's going to come in. Now I get it. It's great for college football because people are watching. That Colorado State game is a snoozer. But because of what he did, people stayed up like myself to watch that game. And I also picked up some really good hints that I've also given to my Irish as well as my Carolina Panthers. But, you know, the reality is, let's look at this game in general. Shedeur Sanders does not have the offensive line that one Oregon has. Oregon's going to be able to pick this team apart. Bo Nix has shown a notion that he can't read that well. He almost has to have the easiest of throws in order to have a defense's number. I'm not trying to be mean, but I think quarterback to quarterback, Shedeur Sanders is my guy. And I'm just being honest. You know, people are going to say, oh, I've never liked Bo Nix. He's a good kid, but I just don't like him. I didn't like him at Auburn. I thought he was overhyped, and I still think he's overhyped. And I just think Oregon's going to cover that 21-point spread. I think the running game is just going to be huge. Oregon's going to kill this Colorado front seven because they're going to be able to get power up the middle, and they're going to be able to get that explosive speed on the edges, which is what Oregon does. They run the ball at you with their big back, and then all of a sudden, here they come. All right, Deion say, here we come. I mean, that's literally what they're going to do. Here they come. I mean, you've got, through 3 games, you've got 3 guys not named Bo Nix. And Bucky Irving, the junior, has 216 yards, 3 scores. And then you have Jordan James, the sophomore. He's got 155 yards, 5 scores. And not to mention this next back who has 101 yards on the ground. This guy's only got 12 carries. And Noah Whittington, the junior, from Fort Valley, Georgia. Home holler, home holler. And guys, this ain't even talking about Bo Nix. Bo Nix ran the ball at Auburn a lot. Now, I will say this, his completion percentage over 77%. I'm giving Bo a hard time because he's kind of like the quarterback that's the Dallas Cowboys. Consistently, you talk about how good this guy's going to be. His expectations were high. His expectations were high last year. They disappointed when they played against Georgia. And I get it. People are going to say Georgia's defense. But here's the thing. If you're a quality quarterback, C.J. Stroud proved it. And I'm not even going to go as far as to say that there was another quarterback on their schedule. Well, Herndon Hooker could have been that guy. But he had a bad game in Athens. The Athens crowd shook him, and unfortunately, he was unable to make amends for it. But ultimately, to me, the biggest possible move here is going to be whether Oregon's offensive line is going to be dominant. And if they're dominant, you can close the door. I don't care how good Shedeur Sanders plays. You're watching what I saw in that Colorado State game last week. Was a great job. You can sit there and be mad and not look at the brilliance of the Colorado State's coaching staff. They took their best player and said, okay, we're going to move this guy around and we are going to make sure that this guy is getting his catches, but also we are going to make this team say, hey, you're going to respect this guy right here. You're going to respect what we're going to do with this guy. And the thing that got me more than anything else is they were able to take, if I remember his name was Horton, I think it was, and they were able to take this kid, move him all over the field, and then take other guys and make him just absolutely, Torrey Horton. They were able to make this guy, he had a career game. He had a great game. And you look at it, their quarterback wasn't great. I would venture to say their quarterback was a lot of their problem. But he had probably a career game. And honestly, what was so impressive was they were able to make in-game adjustments, and possibly you could say, okay, let's run the same thing. Which really ails me at times when I'm watching a game and I'm saying, this is what you can do. Do this. Stick with that. Who cares you run it fast? Find different ways to run it. That's what halftime adjustments are. You might not have something in the playbook. Draw it up that way. Improvise, overcome, adapt. Gunny Highway, Heartbreak Ridge. Thank you, Clint Eastwood. Now, my conclusion is going to be Shedeur Sanders has an okay game. I think Oregon is the fastest team he's going to face next to USC and possibly Utah at the end of the season. But I think that they'll have some ideas of what they need to do to neutralize the speed. But I still think Colorado ends up scoring maybe 28 points. But I think Oregon's gonna. I think Oregon ends up scoring 56. I think they double them up. I think they end up winning 56-28, and this whole Deion story goes away for a little while. I think people are still gonna talk about him. It's gonna be a lot like a lot of other things that we talk about in our in the environment of college football. I'm glad he's here. I just don't think he deserves to overtake a lot of the good what I would say silent energy. And this is where in a age of media we need to uplift our guys that aren't as flamboyant and are silent. Guys like a Marcus Freeman that are quiet. and keep lifting these guys up. They don't have to say anything. Nick Saban's a perfect example. These are guys that win, but they're silent about it. You don't have to tell the whole world about it. But I do think Deion's great for college football. He just needs to develop a less flamboyant persona that's not going to irritate people. Because there's a thin line between being good and letting people you're good and irritating people knowing that you're good. Because then what happens is the floodgates open when you lose. People shouldn't be cheering for you to fail. They shouldn't. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. As I said, I'm taking Oregon by 28 points. What are your guys' comments? If you got a problem with me saying what I said about Prime, hey, listen. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. I feel there are certain ways you should act and conduct yourself, and there are certain ways that other people feel you should conduct yourself and act. Oh, by the way, I got to give you guys, I'm sorry, thank you so much. My producer reminded me. Okay, I posted this 3 hours ago. I maybe should have posted this last night. I'm sorry. I've only got a handful of votes, but 65% of you guys say that the Oregon Ducks are going to beat the Colorado Buffaloes on Saturday. And that poll that I had up earlier about Alabama and Ole Miss, surprisingly, let me update that the Oregon poll is now 71 to 26% in favor of Oregon. And that would be 72 to 28%. So I'm sorry about that, guys. Oregon 72%, Colorado 28%. And updating the Ole Miss Alabama poll, 65% of you guys are saying Ole Miss over Bama 30%. And I took Alabama. So we shall see. But until the next time you guys are grilling out at your favorite tailgate, always remember, same Gap channel, same Gap platform.